I hope I don't look like a fucking idiot today.
Peace, beloved. Peace. Cheers to you. This is your homie Yungcontent, the unofficial Sensei of the culture, mastering youthfulness and contentment. And on today's episode, we have a special guest. Special guest. It is Gavin.
What's going on, bro?
The man.
You're the man.
The photographer.
Bro, some days.
Extraordinaire.
Some days.
We're framed up right pretty good.
Yeah.
So I can edit that part out.
You good?
How you doing, buddy?
Good, man. Chilling.
Yeah.
Working.
I seen you've been putting out some good content.
Trying to, man.
You got your Paid in Exposure podcast.
Absolutely.
I really am intrigued by.
Thank you.
You got your Facebook group. You're doing things for the community.
I'm trying to, bro. I'm literally trying to. It's funny. I started this whole podcast. First of all, I'm black. My wife is Puerto Rican, and so me and her, I rant to her every day. So I'm talking to her, and I'm like, man, where do black photographers go?
Yeah.
And say, hey, I have a community. Where do I go ask questions? Where do I get advice? Where do I share my work? And it's people that look like me and models that look like me. And she looked at me, she was like, well, where do Latinas go? And I looked and I said,
Karina's a fireball.
She's
run for NC Senate.
She needs to. She needs to, man.
Does she know a lot of people? I mean,
No, she likes to be low-key and quiet. That's the problem.
Yeah.
But she said that to me, and I was like, man, I have no idea. So I was like, all right, I got to turn something around. And I literally created a Facebook group, man. I think it's probably been about 2-3 weeks. We almost got like 100 people in there.
I'm digging it. So give the audience a backstory. I'll tell the audience a backstory. I met this man at a party in The View.
Mm-hmm.
He stood out. That's kind of like most of my deep connections. People just stand out to me. We have conversation. And then I found out you're an amazing photographer. You got great editing style.
Thank you.
You actually care about your work.
I do.
And you are, involved.
Yeah, I try to be. So let's see. So my story, let's put it like this. I'm in college, and I had no way of talking to girls. Like, you go to class, you go back to your dorm, whatever. And Facebook was popping. MySpace was like at the end of it. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, man. And we had just got my pops a camera. So I'm like, all right, this might be an avenue. So I picked up this camera, man, and I started playing in Photoshop. Was terrible, trash at Photoshop. I quit Photoshop like 3 times. Like, stop, delete the whole program. And then I kept coming back to it. And then something happened, man. I was actually, one of my closest friends, childhood friends, he was graduating high school, and he goes, hey, can you take pictures of me graduating? And I said, all right, whatever, we'll see how this goes. Charge dude $25, never doing that again. And so I'm doing this, and I realized I'm like, I can make money doing this. And so started doing that, and then that's just how that happened. And, got through college, started meeting different people. It was a lot of family and friends saying, hey, we have this family event. Can you do this for me? Can you take pictures of this for me? And I kept doing it, and I realized, I'm like, man, maybe I want to, maybe I should make this a business. And what's so funny is I got to the end of college. I'm out of school. I'm like 2 years removed from school, and I want to make some extra money. And so I'm talking to my now wife, Karina, and so she going to get mad. I keep shouting her out. I'm telling you, she's low-key. Well-deserved. And I told her, I said, I think I'm about to get another job, like a part-time. And she was like, why don't you just take pictures? Like, you literally can take pictures and make extra money. You don't need to go be a bartender. You don't need to go. She was like, you can just use your gift. And I started doing that, man, and I literally did not turn back. I was like, all right, let's make this happen.
When was that? You didn't turn back, what, 2016, 2017?
Yeah, probably around that time. Like, probably around 2016. She actually got me a class.
Beautiful.
And it's amazing because, you go into these classes and you think you know everything. Yeah. And so I go in this class, I'm like, I already know how to take camera. Because by this time I had been using my camera maybe 3 or 4 years. Yeah. I was already getting booked, but I wasn't getting booked a lot. But I was like, I already know what I'm doing. And the first class I went in there, tons of people who didn't know what they were doing. I had a guy, check this out, and you appreciate this. I sat by a guy. He comes in, he says, I've never used a camera before. Dude pulls out a 5D Mark IV in the box and did not know how to turn it on. There's a switch right there that says on. He's like, he did not get it. He did not know how to put a lens on the camera. He had never used a camera before.
Engineering, baby.
Basically, so it was funny. Like I was in class and I'm helping him put a lens on his camera. I'm like, it's not like and I looked at him. I said, bro, you ain't never took pictures before? He was like, no. He was like, is this a good camera? I'm like,
yeah, it's pretty good. For the timing.
I'm like, yeah, it's and so he. You know, that class, after that class though, bro, I learned so much.
Yeah.
I learned how much I did not know. Yeah. That's probably the biggest thing I learned in that class.
You find yourself not sleeping? So are you a big student and learner? I mean,
absolutely.
Only the things you like to learn, I guess.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You won't sleep through a class if you like it.
No. I mean, bro, it got to the point I wasn't really participating in the class because of certain things I just didn't care to share because I knew I took better pictures than most of the people in my class. I knew my pictures weren't good, but I knew it was better than everybody else, right? And so my teacher one day, she said, what's wrong? And I said, I have one question I need to ask you. I just didn't want to ask in class. And I didn't understand, I didn't know, I'm not gonna be funny, but I didn't know nothing about aperture, right? So I'm like, my picture is just not in focus. One person is in focus, but everybody else, and she was like, this is a pretty picture. And she was like, I want you to do me a favor. She said, come to class 30 minutes before, early. And
you're using the hell out of those points.
Bro.
Those single points.
Bro, I was.
I'm not doing no.
I had no idea. And so I started doing that and I started going to her class, man, and we went through all of my work every week. Every time I had a photo shoot, I'll bring in all of the pictures, my top 5 from each shoot. And which wasn't hard then because I was getting like 1 or 2 shoots. And we would sit down and we'd go through every picture and she would talk to me about composition, where was the shutter, then she would leave the Photoshop stuff alone, but kind of just saying like, hey, this is what you need to pay attention to next time. And so, I wasn't going to sleep.
What do you think the future of photography would be? Would it be like an augmented reality or would you'll be like a little figure taking a shot of someone in the
You talking about in the future what it's gonna be like?
Yeah, what's the future of photography look like to you?
Man,
futurism
it's scary, bro, because it's becoming lazier to me, if that makes sense. So I think these phones is really going to just kill the game.
Yeah. Where does that leave us then?
I think it leaves us to the point where you got to say what makes me stand out. What can I offer to someone that my phone can't? You know what I'm saying?
Cause you got to take it back to the dark room? Or?
You might have to, or it might be something. You have to figure out, I tell people this all the time, I'm like, when it comes to photography, you have to figure out what someone can't do with their phone. Yeah. Like now, we have Lightroom on our phone now. You can literally edit a picture, but...
I just installed the new rainbow sensor into my camera. It does this crazy effect.
Yeah, and it's like, man, what are we doing there? They making the resolution bigger now. Like, the resolution is way better now, so we can blow up iPhone photos, as they say on a billboard. I don't know how that really works, but whatever. So me, personally, I try to create an experience for my clients. Yeah. So I don't know what the future's gonna be like, because mirrorless is about to come here, and even though I love it, sometimes I feel like it makes some brands out there. I say Sony. I wasn't gonna say it, and I was like, yeah, we can say it. I feel like sometimes, and it's not their fault, but sometimes photographers now are getting lazy. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? They just like, all right, let me just open it up, let me pop it out, let me look at the screen, the autofocus, all right, cool, it's blurry enough in the background, cool. Yeah. And they're not creating, it is getting lazy. So yeah. I don't know, man, it's kind of scary. I'm excited because, when I figured out what mirrorless was, I was excited because I'm like, my camera is heavy. Yeah. It's stupid heavy. Yeah. And it's disgusting. I'm like excited for that, but then I look at it now and everybody wants to be a photographer. Yeah.
How old are you?
30.
You're 30.
30, bro.
Word. If you don't mind, describe the community that you live in in 3 words.
Woo! The community I live in. It's compact. It's culture where I stay at. And what's another one? It's youthful.
Yeah. Kind of elaborate that. Youthful in the city, everyone wants to kind of leave, and I just see it as a gold mine sometimes. I don't want to leave. I mean, I want to network and build with these people. What's your perspective on this stuff?
I'm born and raised in Charlotte.
Yeah. So yeah, he would
And
give us a better enlightening.
And so I love Charlotte. I don't want to leave. And I think
I don't want to leave.
I don't want to leave. And, you know, I look at Charlotte and I say, Charlotte's growing. The problem Charlotte has right now is that, you know, we're a banking city. Mm-hmm. One of the, what are we, like, top 2, top 3, something in the nation with banking. I think we're number 2 right after New York. I'm not for sure. But anyway.
Show the bankers.
Yeah. So what happens is you have all these people that's not from Charlotte in here, and they're impacting culture, and they're changing things. So it's kind of like, it's different, you know what I'm saying? But if you know where to go, you know the people to connect to.
Is it Little Ohio or is it Charlotte? You feel me?
Yeah, exactly.
That's why these pockets is so precious.
And you know what? And I used to work uptown, right?
Yeah.
So I was meeting all these people, and they were, you know, I would meet people, and they were like, oh, people in Charlotte can't drive, for instance, right? And I'm like, really?
Use your blinker.
Basically, and I'm like, man, it's so funny because everybody would say I've never met nobody from Charlotte. And I'm like, so it ain't us who can't drive, you know, it's all you out of towners. My only problem with Charlotte is we don't have people that's from this community running the community.
Yeah.
And
like really advocating for the creative shit. And
absolutely, man. And you know, I feel
space.
Absolutely. And I feel like there's definitely avenues where you can look at it and you can say, I already know who's going to win something, who's going to create this. I already know who they, and you can pick whoever you want they to be, but I already know who they are going to choose for this project or for this. And I feel bad, while I am a creator, there's some bigger creatives, people who are super talented, like yourself, and people might not know you or might not know the community that you know, but they'll go ahead and pick and say, you know, such and such down the street, he's going to be the one that creates this for me. And it's like, what do you know about
Bill
this?
Perry, come, you got it.
Basically, and you know, one of my biggest pet peeves was, and me and this girl is cool now, so I'm not gonna just kill her. She's super cool now. But when they did, Charlotte Agenda did a whole thing about like, oh, top 13 photographers in Charlotte, right? Mm-hmm. And it was nobody of color.
Color, bro.
It was nobody of color.
Video about that. She's so pissed.
I was hot. I had posted it. So let me tell you how I think.
Cool. I know what you're talking about. So
yeah,
I already know.
And you know what? I gotta shout her out, man. Shout out Jillian, because I went to her and I said, I'm starting this podcast. She said, give me 1 hour. She hit me back. She said, this is all the people you need to reach out to. She said, send me your press release. I'm going to go through it. And I had some things. She looked at my press release. She was like, you got to go strong on this. You got to talk about this. You have to say. And she really got it. And she said, this is what you need to send out to people. Because
should go so.
Yeah, well, you know, it's funny because when all that happened, right? So that morning, this guy at my job came up to me. He was like, bro, it's this thing. I seen a list of photographers in Charlotte. And he was like, I was kind of disappointed I didn't see you on it. Basically. And he was a Caucasian guy. And he was like, bro, it's really no black people in here. And I'm like, I'm sure it's not. And so then I went through the list. And I'm like, dog, they had nobody of color. And, you know, I have to shout out my wife. I look at things and I say, where are brown people at now? You know what I'm saying? It's no black or brown people in certain things. And I was kind of tight about that. And I'm looking through it and I'm like, it's people who don't take pictures of people in there. I'm like, all right.
Hella rock photography.
I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, man, how many food photographers do we need? Like, there's a lot of them. And let me tell you something. It ain't an easy job to do. I know people make great money doing that. But you can't tell me the top 11, 13 photographers in Charlotte. You can't tell me out of those top 13, 4 of them are food photographers. I don't believe it. And you know, but shout out to the food photographers. But anyway, I'm looking at this list and I'm like, this is blowing my mind, bro. And I was upset and I had posted it. And then I remember some other people had posted about it. And I'm like, man, we already know what it is. But the thing is, you know, when I sat with her and me and her, we went out, we grabbed a drink and we literally sat down and we talked about some things. And, you know, she looked at me, she said, I don't know the people in your circle unless you educate me on them. Yeah. And I said, man. And she said, a lot of people that run this stuff, they're not from Charlotte. And she really said that to me. And I said, dog, it opened my eyes. And she said, you know, the people I work with, they're not from Charlotte. They know their friends and their friends are going to tell them photographers. And you know, I don't know if she minds me sharing it, but she didn't have a say in all those photographers she chose. You know, and it was mind-blowing there. So now I look at it and I say, I want to give people in my community a shout out and say, hey, this person is dope. This person is great.
You are doing it.
Bro, I'm trying to, man.
Really
and that's how we really, I'm trying to, and me and you know, because, you shot my proposal, and I'm like, this guy, your business was on point, you know what I'm saying? Your delivery was even better, We spent that day together, and I was like, man, if I didn't have you, we talked about this off air, if I didn't have you, I don't know what I would have had, you know what I'm saying? It was an amazing thing, so I always try to,
Gratitude.
bro, I try to always push those people out and say, hey, these people are great people, so look out for them.
I was gonna say, do you consider? I was driving on the road. I kind of feel the sense of climate change on the environment right now, as far as August and then fall and September actually.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, I always have these random thoughts. I wanted to see if we could depack this.
Okay.
This random thought, but I was saying to myself, and this is uncensored, I was like, everybody in Charlotte, not everybody, most of the people are slaves.
Yeah.
Slaves to this monotonous system. Kind of reminded me of what Kanye West said about that. It kind of, now that I go 2 years down the road or a year from that, it's like, people are in this matrix effect, and it's kind of exposing that. What do you feel?
You talking about as creators or people?
I know when I create, I don't feel like a slave.
No,
I'm
absolutely.
in full creative mode, and I don't have to even worry about any editing of a client, and I could just go into my own zone.
Bro,
that's where I feel like I touched something.
The problem is like a lot of us don't have the opportunity. A lot of people don't have the drive, and more people just don't have the guts to do like someone like you and say, I'm diving nose first, right? And I do look at people, man. And I know. I'm thinking of one person in my head right now, but I know people who literally wake up and don't have a clue or a dream or a wish to do something on their own and create something. Bro, they don't, man. And it sucks, man, because you see them and they're just dead center. And one of my homeboys, man, we got a business podcast, and it ain't we, he has one. I'm just there to ask ignorant questions because I'm not educated on everything. And every time I see him, I said, bro, how's life? He said, bro, I work for somebody else. He said, and he has a business where he's, shout out to Convo Coffee, they get coffee beans from Africa, right? And he gets them imported here, and he packages them up, and he sends them out. And
shout out to you, my virgin.
Bro, it is amazing, and it's like, he's like, bro, until I get this where I want to, he's like, I can't be a slave every day. He's like, I literally go into work, and I'm like, all right, what time does this end? Because I got to go home, and I got to hustle, so I can't do that. And so, it sucks, man, but you know what? People don't want to live a legacy or leave a legacy or create something that's going to be here after them, man. And that's literally where I'm at in my life, where I'm like, when I'm gone, I want my nephew, I don't have kids yet, so I have a nephew. But when I do have kids, I want them to be able to look and say, my uncle, my dad created this, this is here. And so that's why I have this community now. And I'm like, who knows how big it can get? It might stop at 100 people, right? And as long as those 100 people are saying, hey, I'm learning something, then cool, we there. But you know how it is. You wake up, you meet people, and you just like, man, I can tell it sucks for you.
For real.
You can look at people with tail, bro.
And that's why I like people who do community stuff like you, because I believe, I've said it before, I'll say it again on my last episode about friends, a million, or status, that humans are like superorganisms. We are a superorganism, like a beehive, like a hive, or like a ant colony. It's just we don't know how to climb within that colony.
It sucks, bro. It's like so I have a 9 to 5, right? And the joy I have is I go to work, and I do that for other reasons, and then I come home, and it's like a release. It's like a relief that I'm working on something that means something amazing to me. And in our community, it sucks because you're trying to find people that is building up, like you're saying, right? And it's giving back, that's not using you, right? And so now you get into this thing where you're saying all right, let's make all this happen, and let's grow and let's help each other. And it's amazing once you do meet people like that who are just genuine, and then you want to create with them, you want to help them. And that's the other dope part about my life, right? So I meet people who have all types of lifestyles, who have all types of dreams. I've taken pictures of photographers. I've literally done photo shoots, and photographer come, and I told one photographer, I said, don't you never come to a shoot with me again without your camera. I was like, bro, I told him, I said, bro, you need your camera. I was like, why don't you get branding shots right now? I'm like, it's enough business out here for everybody, man. We can work, you know what I'm saying, and let's help each other. So
when did you see the key turn of collaboration start happening in the city?
Ah, man,
Because there was always the bashing aspect to it, but now it's like a collaborative megaplex in a way. It was great.
Yeah, you know what it is? I think, I don't want to put a lot of stuff on. I think politics changed a lot of stuff for people. And I know that sounds so random. And I think once our community, especially our community of color, because you have this photography community, then you have a photography community of color. And when I say of color, it doesn't just mean it's only black and brown people. There's people who are in there who are like, I want to help you guys. I want to use my privilege to elevate you guys also. So for me, man, I noticed a shift right after everything happened with Trayvon Martin. I know that sounds crazy as it may sound, but I realized that people of color was like, we really got to come together on all aspects of life, not just politics, not just religion if you're going to go there, not just financially, not just, career-wise. And it was even photographers and videographers saying like, hey, can I help you? Is there any way we can work with each other? And then I started noticing that, most people don't understand it, but women of color, every time there's a Republican president, their entrepreneurship goes through the roof. They're the highest and fastest growing entrepreneurs out there. And so what I realized is a lot of people started saying like, hey, how can I create with entrepreneurs? How can I assist them? And literally, I think that shift came, the culture started changing, and people were like, hey, we're not against each other. Let's figure something out. And then stuff just started growing after that.
Beautiful.
So it sounds random, but that's literally the shift I noticed. And when I noticed it.
They say that the word Armageddon comes from the Greek, meaning like Armagetros, which means rebirth. It doesn't necessarily mean the end of anything. It just means a rebirthing.
It makes sense, man.
The phoenix is happening all over our city, and I support black women, I support brown women, I support all women, especially those women,
absolutely,
especially knowing my beloved beautiful black queen and muralist, and just seeing how much extra stuff they have to fight against.
Absolutely, man. It's funny. I reached out to a group on Instagram. And it's called man, I can't think of it. But anyway, it's if you hashtag Black female photographers. There's this group, and it might be 25,000 women that follow this group, all black female photographers. And I wrote the lady who runs the whole thing. I DM'd her. I shot her an email rather, and I said, hey, I need, if it's possible, I would love to, send you this so that you share it with your followers. I said, because I need black and brown women in my photography group. And I told her, I said, as a black male, I know what it's like going on certain shoots. And I know how, if I show up to a certain gig, how I'm gonna be looked at and how I'm gonna be treated. And, I have to make sure.
Well, I gotta get to this shit early, man.
Yeah, basically.
Time is an illusion.
With that, and then sometimes, man, you know what's so funny? The reason why this group is really, really created, because it's black and brown creatives, you don't want to offend nobody by being yourself, right? And you do that when you're scared. Yeah. And so you're like, shit, I don't want to show up and just be ignorant or just hood. And what it really is, it's not that. You just cultured. You understand how certain stuff works, and you like, I don't want to do that. And I told her, anyway, going back, I told her, I said, can you please just start telling your female photographers about it, just because I need them there. Because black and brown women go through shit I would never know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what it's like to, hey, I gotta go on this photo shoot. I hope the person I'm with or who I'm shooting is not a creep and is going to, assault me. I don't know that. I don't, that's male privilege. And so I get that part and I understand it.
I appreciate all the innuendos and weird things in the conversation.
Yeah.
There's so much stuff you gotta.
Bro, and I'm like, how the hell can I get guys to understand that? And let's just be, I'm gonna just be honest. How do I get males to understand certain things you don't say? Yeah. It's certain things you don't do, certain ways you don't act.
You do it the way you're doing it through consensus.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I'm like, all right, let's get that out the way. And then, also in the group, it's dope because I get to let people know hey, it's okay. It's okay to be cultured. Some people are scared to be cultured, bro. And this junk is scary. It's scary when you meet people who are scared that them being cultured, that them being seasoned is that's what I call it being seasoned. I'm like, yo, you got a little seasoning in you. It's cool. Share it, because some people want that. I'm shooting a wedding next month, and the lady told me, she's a white lady, her husband is black, and she looked at me and she said, you know how to shoot people of color and people that's not of color. So that's why I booked you. Yeah. She was like, we went through everybody. I'm like, nah, we're fine. We're going to have to find somebody that can shoot people of color. I'm like,
I'm telling you, if you didn't burn all those books at the Library of Alexandria, you would have been cultured. You feel me? You would have all this wealth of library of knowledge that's not in the ashes anymore. Yeah. It would have helped so much.
It would, man. And so it's scary, but you've been there. It's certain people that don't shoot people of color. Yeah. Like, we know that. In our community, we know that. Sometimes we don't like to share it, but I like to tell people all the time, I'm like, I've called out photographers. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's one group, she has like, it's one lady, she's on YouTube, she's huge on YouTube. And she's a photographer, and I told her, I'm like, yo, you selling presets, I don't see no people of color in your portfolio that these presets is on. I was like, why? And she wrote me back on YouTube, was like, no, I try to showcase people of color. And I said, cool, you got 35 models on your profile. 2 of them are black, none of them are Hispanic. What's up? I'm like, you can't tell me that that's important to you. Yeah. And then she wrote me privately and was like, thank you for that, because I really didn't notice it was that deep. I'm like, yeah, it's that deep. You know what I'm saying?
You out here evangelizing.
I'm trying.
What do you think about Popeyes raising $35 million in free advertising? How do we leverage that for the creative community and the black-brown community?
Bro.
And how do we, like, is it the programming aspect? Because I heard that they even use certain lingo in their Twitter, like, y'all good?
Absolutely.
Like, it was all like a market, like.
Bro. It's one day black and brown people are gonna have to realize, like, how do I say this? We make shit cool, bro.
Absolutely.
That's the plainest way I can say it. Bro, you can't tell me, it's nothing that we didn't make cool. Like, you think
hip-hop is now music.
It is pop culture.
Yeah.
So think about it like this. When we was coming up in school, the radio and, these VJs, the video jocks and like MTV, BT, they told us what was cool. Viacom told us what music was the best song in the world. And half the time, and you think about who those people were, they couldn't sing, they couldn't dance, and they went crazy once we realized they weren't cool, right? And you gotta thank, you gotta thank BearShare, you gotta thank LimeWire for us downloading stuff, and then the game switched where we could control it more. And so we started telling the world what was cool. Like, what was acceptable, what we did, that's why you have all these.
What was the lingo? Yeah.
Yeah, you start letting them know.
Used,
bro, and that.
What is support?
Bro, it is. And like, I tell people all the time, I'm like, yo, people ask me, they were like, what you think about these little mumble rappers? I was like, I love the young boys. And they was like, wow. I'm like, bro, they literally did what, if I could have done in high school, I would have did. Yeah. Just got on the mic, started saying something crazy, put a dope beat behind it, and hey, it cost them $10 a month just to put it in a little program and get shared to every outlet just to see how many times y'all click on it. Yeah. And some of those boys now are, rich, so to speak. And it's amazing now, but I look at it and I say, we make stuff cool. And so when you look at Popeyes, you like, yo, that started from Facebook, man. But they're not the first ones. And being that I'm into marketing, and I used to do marketing for Fortune 500 companies and, smoke shops in Charlotte. I work for a company now, and I do it for other brands. Brands that hit me up and say, hey, we need help with our marketing. You have to do that. If you want to target a demographic, you have to fit in, because if you don't, then they're just not going to accept you. But what happened is, we make something cool. Now, just as easy as Popeyes has just grown the last couple of weeks, like, bro, next month we can cancel them, and it won't be cool anymore. So what the community has to do is kind of look at it and say, hey, y'all need content creators on your team. I know a guy right now, man, he's a Charlotte photographer, man, super dope cat, and he got his job now. He works downtown. Shout out to Josh, man. Josh, he literally told me, he said, bro, I went to this doggone job. They sat down, they said, oh, we need somebody to run our social media, and he was like, no, you don't. And he said, I showed him that they needed a content creator. Yeah. And he said, bro, I literally went in there.
Stop telling me to run your social. I'll run it down to the ground.
Bro, he was like, I went in there, I was like, nah, you need better branding. No, you actually need videography work. You actually need commercials. No, you actually need to figure out how you're going to get in the community. Who's recording when you guys go in the community and you're giving back? Okay, good. Guess what? Nobody knows that you actually do that. Nobody knows you give money away. Like, it's mind-blowing. And so it's time for us to say, like, all right, let's go talk to Popeyes. Like, who's going to be the first person who has a black media group or a brown media group is going to go sit with Popeyes and say, hey, guess what you guys are missing out on? You could have ran Instagram. Like, the number one social media right now in fast food is Wendy's. Like they came out with a freaking mixtape last year. Like that should blow people's mind. They came out with a mixtape. No, like 2 or 3 years ago. And bro, do you know how many producers they probably went and got? They probably went to the hood and was like, hey, we need a couple of producers. Yeah. We need somebody to put some beats.
I'll give you Wendy's for life.
Pretty much. Or
leverage it somehow.
Or leverage, but who's gonna say, I wanna sit down and do that? And we just gotta understand we make stuff cool. So you kinda gotta go in there with that mindset. And every job that I've gotten, in my 9 to 5, and I'm not saying if you don't want a 9 to 5, don't go do it. You know, some people love it, and nothing's wrong with that because they love doing that aspect of their life. But every job I've gotten, I've went into there and I said, this is the community that you're missing out on. This is how you affect them. Yeah. This is how much money they spend. It's time out for saying black and brown people don't have money, because we do. Yeah. The biggest gig, you look at it and you say, you got black billionaires, you got black millionaires, you got black weddings, you have black people that spend tons of money. The most, the shoot besides a wedding that I've made was on a black girl who, it was her maternity shoot. And she came in and she was like, bro, she hit me up and I have on my website, you can buy additional edits. The highest you can buy is 10. If you want more than 10, I'll do whatever. She hit me back, was like, I need 30, just send me the price. Yeah. I sent her the price, it was paid for in 10 minutes, bro. I'm like, but I didn't know, bro. And it's just time out for that and saying like, hey, how do I leverage this to make this shit pop? Yeah. But it is.
Do we have, so as far as, have you had your work exhibited here? I know you have the Harvey B. Gantt.
Yeah.
We and the homie Alvin, that's the homie. C. Jacobs, that's the homie. Do you feel like these institutions should kind of like work in tandem?
Absolutely. I think they should. I haven't had my work personally put out there. I've had people reach out to me and tell me, I take more pictures of people, and it's not more of an artistic wave. So I think some people might look at it and be like, but that's just me in my own head, right? What I think should happen is we need a community, and it's almost like, it sucks to say, you almost need like a board. Yeah. You need like probably about 10 people. And it's kind of neat to say, hey, we're gonna create this board, and it needs to be non-biased. And Charlotte, it pisses me off to say it, but sometimes Charlotte, it gets clicky. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I'm one of them people, like, me, I talk trash. Yeah. I don't
see you get clicky. I don't see myself getting clicky. I think we try to work in every circle.
Absolutely. But I've reached out to some brands. I'm like, yo, I can tell you who's going to win your award show this year, because I already know how you guys operate. And I had one guy, man, I had one award show here in Charlotte. Cat reached out to me and he was like, bro, that ain't how this works. I was like, cool. And I said, but I already knew who's gonna win every year, and I could tell you who's gonna win this year. And he was like, what you mean? I said, dude, it's clicky. Anyway, getting back to your question.
Bureaucracy.
We can't have that, right? We need somebody to say, hey, I'm in this space, because all of us not in the same space. Bro, you introduced me to people last week when I was at the art show, and I'm like, oh, I don't know none of these people. I went there, I knew one person, I knew 2 people when I walked in, and an additional person was you. And it's, most people recognize me, whether it's Instagram, whether it's they just see me out, and I was like, man, this is a whole nother world. Meanwhile, my friend who's, I tried to introduce him to artists, he came in there and he knew artists. He had never met them, but he was like, bro, I follow this person, I follow that person. Their work is dope. Like, you gotta see. And I'm like, really? And he's like, bro, this is a whole nother world. And he, it's funny, I can't get my boy to get out the house for nothing. I hit him up literally 2 hours before we got.
Is he the one that called me Noir?
Yeah, Jamar.
Oh, done. Much love to you, homie.
And it was fun. And I looked at him, I was like, he don't look nothing like. He's like, well, kind of. I'm like, man, shut up. But anyway, but I had told him, I said, I can't get him out the house. 2 hours before the event started, I told him what was going on. He's like, I'll be there, I'm bringing my girl. And I was like, what? And he literally showed up like 15 minutes after me, and he enjoyed it. And we talked about it for.
Did you enjoy it? Do you think that needs to scale?
I would love to see it bigger. I think somewhere like that is. Something like that needs, I would love to see it at the Fillmore. I would love to see it in one of those big parking lots, and we just have it big out there.
A festival that we all can collab on, do things with.
And you can have something different and something, it was so much dope work there. First of all, that's my first time seeing a 3D printer. And I was just mind blown by that because I'm like, yeah, all right, I played this in the
You
game.
can make certain adjustments for your cameras, like different aperture rings and.
I was like, what? And like, only time I ever seen it. Damn, what was the name of that game? It doesn't even matter. They don't need no damn free promo. But anyway, I think it was Watch Dogs. I just gave him free promo. Anyway, I saw it on there. I'm like, man, this would be cool if it's actually like a real thing. And I remember I told my boy, he was like, well, 3D printers are a real thing. And I'm like, whatever. And then when I'm there and I'm seeing stuff getting made, and I'm like, this is mind blowing. But it was like, that was dope. You were on the wall. You know what I'm saying? Somebody painted you. And I'm like, all right. And then one guy came up, he was like, hey, did you guys grab a beer? And I'm like, oh, I don't drink beer. And he was like, oh, I designed a can. I was like, well, let me go get a beer then, because I want to see this thing. You know, it was dope to me.
Mike Worth.
Yeah, but my thing is like,
that's what he did.
Why isn't, you know, we need somebody going to Harvey Vegan and saying, hey, here's some black artists, here's some brown artists, you guys can fill them up, have a showcase here. Metropolitan, they're having a little thing now, they're doing a whole art walk, and I'm not gonna lie, I went for that job, and you know, one of my things I told the lady, I said, I'm gonna get you some artists in here you guys have never met, seen, or heard of. And she was like, really? And I was like, yeah, because
Yeah, we're not gonna get, you know, the guy from England. You know, we live in Charlotte, homie.
Yeah. And like, I'm like, bro, I'm like,
go to Australia for this.
Exactly. I'm like, we already know who y'all gonna pick, and you're gonna go off of, you know you're gonna walk up the street, pick the same person who does everything else, who doesn't engage with the community. You're out in these streets. Like, I think people need to really understand that you literally be out in these streets, meeting people, shaking hands, introducing yourself. You literally came and spoke.
You too. I see a reflection.
Bro, but you know what it is? You sat there with me for maybe 3 to 4 minutes, and then I just watched you go around the room, shaking hands, introducing, asking people, do you need anything? Have you met such and such? Oh, okay. Well, that person's right there. Let me go. And I'm like, that's what we need. We don't need an artist who's like, you know, some artists, they are secluded there to themselves, which is cool. You know, some people have the zones that they like to stay in, but we need those artists saying, hey, I'm willing to engage with the community, because it make the shit dope, and then people actually want to come out more. Like, next time I'm going to invite my friends. I'm going to invite more people. You know, my wife was like, no, we're going. And she did it for you. You know what I'm saying? And we talked about that. I'm like, oh, I had no idea about it. My wife was like, I don't know why you don't know.
Your wife is super talented. She has her hands in the film. I feel like if she had her own thing, and you know, if the recession comes, you guys buy some land.
Absolutely.
Y'all could really do some really big things.
You know,
shockwaves here.
I love her because I really didn't understand what brown people went through or go through. I really did not get it, bro. You know, it's just one of those things.
They're doing to us on the island,
bro.
Right now.
And you know, that stuff. You know, when I met her, she was quiet and she would say certain things, and I was like, all right, cool, I hear you. And it was like, bro, stuff started happening. She was like, oh, and she just be going in now, and I can't even stop it. And I laugh sometimes because I'm like, yo, some people probably think like, that's Gavin's wife. That's how he is on certain stuff. You know, I think the last election made us really go like, what the hell is going on? Like, this junk is scary. Like, stuff is really moving. That's not cool. And then, you know, when stuff started happening in Puerto Rico, and you know, her grandmother couldn't get a hold of family members, that stuff scared her, and she was like, my wife was like, we definitely got to start changing stuff. And I told her, you know, it was so funny. I told her, I said, man, with the last election, I said, I hope y'all know. And I was speaking when I was saying y'all to her, I was talking about all Hispanics and Latinas. I said, I hope you know people are about to group everybody into one group. And I said, please understand when they say, you know, and I'll be very direct, when Trump kept saying like, oh, Mexicans this, I said, he's not just talking about people from Mexico. He's talking about if you brown.
Yeah. He's talking about the darkest Argentinian. Basically.
And I'm like, man, that junk is real. And I said, it's going to affect everybody. And it literally affects our community because it causes a divide. But, you know, you get some people that don't want to create with other people, that don't want to work with other people. But shit sucks. It happens, though, man.
Even with brown people having that colorism aspect, you know, we be European.
Oh, absolutely.
High key. You know, the parents are teaching us that black and brown, black people is bad. That's just super toxic, man.
Yeah, it is.
Like this baby boomer, whatever happened, you know, there's a shift in consciousness.
Bro, we should have never gave them Facebook.
You know.
We should have never let them get on Facebook, bro.
EMP them off.
Bro, if we could delete, I'm sorry, it's going to take some people's parents off, but man, if we can get rid of like everybody 57 and over Facebook, we might be all right. We would have been all right, but we gave some of these people Facebooks and they just were spewing hatred and it's threw stuff off, bro.
Yeah, straight. She's spewing racist hatred. I'm super outspoken on Facebook.
Absolutely, and I love it.
I have to.
It's great.
And people even tell me, he's like, you should censor your stuff because, you have clients that might not want. I'm like, I don't care.
Bro.
Like, I'm a merchant. I'm always going to be provided for. I know how to merchandise. I know how to,
Bro, so,
I'm a vigilante.
So, when I first created the podcast, my wife said, what's one thing black photographers go through that another photographer won't? And I said, it seems like every black photographer I speak to, and myself included, you get to this space where you're like, I need to create and I need to involve people that's not of color into my world, right? Because I need them to, I need them to see it. I need to get them in my portfolio. I need to shoot them and share them. And I said, it sucks because you feel like you need that validation. I said, if you get it, that's cool. If you're working with those individuals, that's cool. It works. I shoot non-colored people all the time. Like it happens. And they know exactly who I am. They know exactly, they didn't see my Facebook. They didn't see my Instagram, me talking crazy. But what's funny is I said, they don't never go through that with us.
Yeah.
I said, how many, white male photographers you think say, I need a chocolate girl in my portfolio. I need her today. I'm like, never. Yeah. It's probably super rare that it happens like that. And I said, that's something that I go through, that I've been through. And now I'm like you. I'm like, if you don't book me because I
gotta put my Facebook to private.
Bro, if I gotta do that, then I don't need your money. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And it sucks, but the only reason why it sucks is because people can't see what's going on. And so I look at it and I say, man, I say what I want to on Facebook. Yeah. My family has a very religious background, but it's certain things.
Are you religious?
Yeah, I am. I'm not gonna sit here and say I'm not, but it's certain things I call out the Christian church for all the time. And I'm not afraid to. I'm not ashamed to. Yeah. My granddad's a pastor, my dad's a deacon, my uncle's a pastor. Bro, I'm literally, people know this, I'm at Pride every year. You know what I'm saying? I'm at Pride, I'm over here talking. What's good, man? My wife see it.
The studio pooch came in.
If my wife see the dog here, she'd be so mad because she wants a dog.
You just want, this is why lights make people act a fool. Lights, camera, action makes people act a fool. When you have lights on people, they just change. What do you think? People just change up when the lights are on them?
Absolutely.
I think there's something about this. Like, is it interdimensional? Is there a physical thing going on? But these lights change people.
Yeah, man. But I look at, it was a part of my life when I started creating that. You seen some of my work. Imagine how my old church members, when they see some of my work. Yeah. It's new girls in my stuff. I've taken pictures of homosexuals and did not care. Yeah. Bro, but I understand me, I understand what I believe in, and I understand that just because you live a lifestyle and you do certain things that I don't necessarily agree with, don't mean nothing. It's like, yo, you still a great, beautiful person. I look at stuff like that, but then I challenge my homeboys. I got a homeboy right now who's he's aspiring to be a pastor, and I go in on him every day. I'm like, yo, we're gonna make this work. You know what I'm saying? My dad, he laughs. It scares my mom sometimes when she sees some of the stuff I take pictures of, and she hears sometimes the way I talk. My dad thinks it's the funniest thing in the world, bro. He's like, this is amazing. And me and him, we talk stuff about church, and I understand people gripes about certain things, and I challenge everybody to, if you believe in something, you shouldn't be afraid when somebody challenges you. Yeah. And you know what the problem is, bro? A lot of people are scared to say they don't know. Yeah. A lot of people are. Nothing's wrong with saying, bro, I do not have the answers. I have a homeboy, man. He's just like me. He's, one of my closest friends, man. He's a religion major, and he would challenge any Christian, any Muslim, no matter what you are, you Jewish. He would challenge you everything, and he would ask you questions. But then, he'd be right behind me at church on Sunday if he's there. Me and him would chop it up, we laugh, and he calls out to church all the time, and he understands, and he's like, man, it's certain questions he can answer that I can't. But I'm not afraid to say, bro, if you ask me something, I'm like, bro, I don't know. I'm figuring this thing out too. But only people I seem to can't stand is just racist people, bro. I'm just call this shit how I see it. I don't get it. It is, you know, that. And
understanding that you're a multi-dimensional being having a human experience, you know what I mean? It's
absolutely.
like you're just having a human experience, and
Bro.
you're choosing to spoil your experience,
bro.
on a vibe that probably is gonna carry you for the rest of your life.
Absolutely, man. You know, and I don't want to make this whole thing religious, but when it's funny. I was at church yesterday. The guy who was speaking, he said something that was mind blowing. He said Christians got to this thing where we started. You're trying to like survive through the world. He's like, that's the worst type of life you can live as a Christian. And I was like, dog. And he's like, you ain't supposed to be scared of nobody out here. You're not. And he was saying as though like, he said one of his closest friends is atheist, and he was like, I do not care. He was like, would I love for him to believe in what I believe in? He's like, absolutely. He said, but does he bring value in my life, living a lifestyle that's completely opposite? He was like, absolutely. He said, it's my religion for me, it helps him. He said it helps him to live and to, you know, be a better person. And he's like, I love being that person. He was like, but, you know, he goes through, he stood up one day, he was like, man, he said, I know who some of y'all voted for, I know who some of y'all didn't vote for. He said, I do not care. And, you know, it's things like that. And I think sometimes people use their religion to stay in this box, in this mode, and they get upset when people don't live in that box, in that mode. And it's mind-blowing, bro. Because I'm like, I understand the beauty of life, bro. And so it is what it is, man, but it's whatever.
At the end of the day, you still are kind of leading by influence instead of position.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And, you know, your position is not dictated by your influence. You have the influence. That's who you are, Gavin.
Absolutely.
In 2020, it's going to happen in 5 months or whatever.
Gosh.
I'm just sometimes just throw random numbers. It's happening. 2020.
Yeah, okay.
Huge clarity will happen. Where do you see yourself in 2020?
Man,
Gavin 2020.
Gavin 2020, man. I hope that what I'm doing now pops off with the whole podcast. And the reason why I say that is because
abracadabra,
bro, I hope it's just like that. It just goes. And the reason why, because I want to be.
I'm happy to document it.
Please, man. You know.
Just right here.
Yeah. Well, because what happens is, I want to be in a lot of things, man. I mean, I want to step into this world of politics, and I ain't running for nothing. I ain't got time to be a sheep. I ain't got time for that. But I kind of want to say, like, I want to sit down with a candidate and really, you know, a candidate should be in the seat right here. Yeah. Right? Why isn't somebody running for office, they not sitting with you and you asking them these type of questions? Like, hey, do you know the creative space? Because I'm telling you, if a candidate right now who's running in Charlotte in particular can get in and say, hey, I want to sit down with a creative and figure out how can I change this world, bro, I'm telling you, they would blow past
ping pong on them, fam.
Bro.
I'll ask them all the hard questions.
Bro.
You gonna sweat. I see all that little sweat. Zooming in 4K drip.
Hey, but I want to be in that, man. I want to literally be sitting on boards and saying, hey, no, this is the person we need to be speaking to. I really want to, it's my goal. I really want to.
You're a world builder.
I want to, well, I want this community in where we're all sitting down and we're saying, what's next? Like, what do we change next? And I tell people, I'm not a super creative person, right? I'm not like you. I'm not like the people you know, right? Where they can just literally sit down and just create something from scratch. That's not me. But however, I know what I do bring to the table, and I can bring that. You know, I'm understanding who hands needs to be shaked, who do we need to sit down with. A lot of people, it sucks to say, a lot of creators, man, you know this, their business is not A1, right? They don't know how to, and that's fine. I want to be that person saying, hey, no, actually, I want to go sit down with Harvey again, and I want to go sit down with their board members and say, hey, you know what would be dope? Like, you don't need to let the Fillmore, even though they're probably, you know, shout out to them, they're probably the better venue for this. But you know what? You guys need to have let these award shows happen here. We need to have a ball. We need to have, you know, some type of program where creatives can come up and they can actually speak, and you can let them. There should be like this award Grammy type thing where photographers and videographers and artists and just people can come up and say, hey, I want to thank this person. This is what I want to see Charlotte's like. Yeah, and like Harvey Gantt should be like the mecca of that, right? But then you should also have shows that's going through, you know, whether it's Fillmore, I don't know why Spectrum ain't figured some stuff out for us, you know.
speak that, yeah.
Bro, we should, you could literally block off, you know, the main street in Charlotte and saying, hey, let's just have an arts. Like, let's just have a show, a display, and people can set up. And everything don't have to cost every artist, you know, thousands of dollars to work in. You know what I'm saying? You know, I look at, and I don't want to be rude, but I look at what Camp North End could have been, what they tried to be, and what they're positioning themselves to do. And, bro, they used us and kept it moving, right? And it sucks. Because so many people came over there and they put their blood, sweat, and tears over there and created some amazing stuff, and they got popping and they got real popular, and then they turned around and told everybody, like, now you got to pay to come over here if you want to work on site. And it's like, it sucks. Yeah. And you know why it sucks is because even though it wasn't created by somebody that was technically here, I remember when I was at Eckerd's plant. You know what I'm saying? And I remember when photographers like, yo, go over there, you can just pull up and just start taking pictures everywhere. And then everybody was there and everybody's creating and people are gifting their talents to make it a beautiful thing. And there's still people that's over there that's working, that's trying to keep it alive. But if it was one of us who was in charge of that, Camp North End be so different.
I'd be raisin toast.
Bro.
It'd be whack, bro. It'll be another note that this would be whack, bro.
Bro, but it's like,
it's not seasoned.
It's not. And you got people over there that's running it, and they're like, nah, we good. Thank y'all. You got us popping. Yeah. We got what we needed.
We'll do this beer brewery festival every 2 days or something.
And you know, I was over there, man. I snuck up in there and I was taking pictures, and I'm sitting there and I'm seeing all these food trucks pull in. I'm like, golly, man, what's going on here? And I remember one time I was shooting over there, man, and this lady pulled up on your boy. She was like, can I help you? And I was like, no, bro, she didn't let me walk 2-3 steps from my car. I need your pass, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, golly. And I'm like, man, we used to tag y'all all the time. You know, I'm watching artists.
Wasn't this whole shit Pangea one fucking time?
Bro, it's like
walking around natively.
Bro, and it was like, it's fun, man. And I remember one time I was over there and I shot, and I was walking back to my car, and the police were circling everywhere I was at. And I was like, and they weren't, and I put it like this, I know they got a call saying, hey, somebody's over here shooting that's not supposed to be. And it wasn't them, because when they saw me walking to my car, dude just gave me a nod, a wave, and he kept it moving. You know what I'm saying? And they don't like to be called for that stupid shit, but it happens. You know what I'm saying? But
this is a good question for you. If you would have given ancient Egyptians, indigenous, Native Americans cameras and photography equipment and gear, editing software, where you think it would went?
Boy, stuff be so different, bro. That's such a deep question.
It's a deep one. Just
bro. You said you just thought of it? Well, shit. I don't even know, man.
Would it be like Wakanda 100-fold? Would it be like the art probably would have, translated into like a projector, a piece that just, who knows what they would have done? What kind of ancient wisdom they would have had with it, help from, I don't know, another side, who knows?
Bro, you got to look at what they created with what they had. You give them some technology.
Not even that they wanted, but I'm just saying the photography aspect would have just...
Bro, I think...
the films they would have produced would have been crazy.
Bro, but it would have just been so, I don't want to use the word authentic. It would have just been so emotional. And I'm not talking about what happened in there. I'm talking about just feeling the heartbeat of what this, we don't really know the heartbeat of this nation, right? Yeah. And you look at it and it's mind blowing. And I tell people this, you get on Instagram right now, look up African photographers, hashtag that. See what they're creating in the motherland, and you will be mind blown. You think the photographers here are dope? Just Google Nigerian photographers, whatever you can, any country over there. And bro, when you see what they're creating, you will understand that it's something special. And it's just seeing our people over there and saying, wow. Like, it's so much beauty, man. You grew up in a time, me and you both grew up in a time, the only time we saw Africans on TV, it was like cents of money, 15 cents a day. It was disgusting. You didn't know it was like a whole nother world. They're where we at with technology. You didn't really see that. And bro, to see them able to record that stuff and really show us how beautiful it is. So I'm saying, if you would have gave the natives that, man, you just would have saw some rawness and just really how beautiful this country is.
Yeah. You would have the you would have the Basquiats, but you would have these names that are Hall of Famous.
Bro, you just would
for eternity.
Bro, you would have seen people, the stuff that we love today, you would have seen it being created, documented. So much stuff that's happening in this country, or that's here in this country. We don't know how the hell that stuff happened. We're guessing. We're hoping these history books are somewhat close enough, right? But you would have just been able to see that documented. You would understand how these mountains are where they are.
Someone said that when you push innovation to the edges of the network, what happens? Exponential growth.
Absolutely.
Without limitation or rules.
And think about what cameras would be at now.
Yeah.
Bro, think about what your camera would do. What? They shooting in 8K now? Like the big cameras?
Yeah.
Like, bro, imagine.
Yeah.
Imagine if we would have had that for years and just what they would have recorded and think about the limits they would have forced you to shoot at and what you would be doing. You would be like, I can't do that. They've already accomplished that, and it's just, I gotta go harder. I gotta figure out something different. So we'll see, man.
Speaking of go harder, I wish you the best on your journey,
bro.
beloved.
Thank you, man.
Thank you for being on the show,
bro.
Give the people some final words of Gavin's treasure chest wisdom that kind of helped you out. That would benefit the audience.
Invest in people, man. That's the only thing I gotta say. Like, invest in people. Speak life into people. I look at it like that, and I say, you gotta speak life. You gotta invest in other people, and make sure you follow the community. Look up No More Pie on Facebook. I would love for
No More Pie. Absolutely, I'm on there. I actually love it. I enjoy what I'm seeing right now in the infancy, so I can only see what it scales.
Bro, and the reason why it's called No More Pie, which the pie stands for paid in exposure. So creatives don't want to be paid in exposure anymore. Yeah. It's time out for that. But speak life into other creatives, man. You always speak life into people, especially creatives. I have one of my homeboys, he's my closest friends, one of my best friends. He did not know me. He knew somebody else that knew me. And the first words I ever heard about him was, tell Gavin he's gonna do well in photography. I was so trash at that moment, but he was like, I see something. Tell him to keep pushing no matter what, keep pushing. And it's something beautiful about speaking life. And find somebody that speaks life in you and keep that person close. And keep your circle close too, man. But that's that, man. Follow me, follow the group, join it. Please, on Instagram, Iam_GavinB, Paid in Exposure Podcast on Instagram, GavinBoware.com, everything, man. Just follow it, man.
Charlotte, you're going to figure your soul out. We're here to help, and we're going to speak life into your soul.
Please,
we want your soul to be vibrant, your aura to be popping. You can't limit us.
Absolutely.
Next time, live the dream, eat ice cream. Thank you for being on the show, beloved.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate you, man. You're amazing, man.
Hold the reins.
Bro, you are amazing, bro. You are dope. Bro.
Gray sky got me feeling brand new. I just woke up in the 6 with a view. Low-key, I'm moving, ain't your business what I do. I've been working hard, now it's time to let it loose. 14 on my wrist, 14 on my collar. G-lock on my hip, 100 on my collar. Took a leap of faith, I've been free